today we have pork and $600 to the loyal peasants. Just a couple of lines coming right up. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn on your Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in. I appreciate you guys as always. And for those of you that are not quite sure whether or not you're coming in, I want to thank you so much for considering coming into Black Spring with Autumn on your Tuesday, because you have choices out there. And as per usual, you will have an opportunity to feed the AI around here throughout, whether you choose to do it at the beginning or in the middle or in the end. It all helps out with the channelytics or the dissemination of streams or streams of the same ilk, if you will. So I thank you so much for considering coming in, and thank you so much to the loyal patrons, the subscribers, and the followers over on Periscope. I would like to make a note that unfortunately, it looks like Periscope will be concluding its streaming or its programs on Periscope, and you will be able to continue on Periscope, but you won't be able to get this particular stream on Periscope. So with that said, you might take the opportunity between now and I think March 31st of 2021 to try to secure another medium of watching or listening to Black Spring with Autumn. So, of course, you have the YouTube page, and the streams will also be available in the future via the podcast on some of the popular podcasts, whether Anchor or the Google podcast or even the Spotify, some of the others, and possibly Acast you may be able to find it on Acast, but I'll provide that information later. And thank you so much for coming in, and good morning to Chrysler Imperial H. Good morning to you. And Steve Willis, thank you guys so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. So before we dive right in, I'm going to get you in and out on your Tuesday. Before we dive right in, I'm actually going to give a thanks to our sponsors, and I'll be right back, and we'll jump right into this pork project, I guess is what. It looks more like, well, I'll get into that right after this. And thank you guys so much for tuning in and for feeding the AI around here. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, entertainment, history, and much, much more, there's something for everyone. So please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Joseph Francis Burton, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back to the news right after this. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate you guys for all that you do. And thank you so much for coming in on your Tuesday. So I want to get right to this, and hello to Philip J. Turner. So I will try not to, I've done somewhat of a deep dive into the issue at hand here today. And I'm going to try not to make that too painful for you guys. And it's, of course, it's relating to this stimulus bill, or the bill known as the it's under the HR 1133, I do believe it is. It's 133. It's a Senate Amendment HR 133, not 1133. So I stand corrected on that. So I've already done a bit of a deep dive into it. And of course, I could dive deeper, but I need to come up for air, and you have to keep going. Otherwise, I need to breathe outside of the deep dive. So I'm sure you guys you've heard headlines about the bill. And of course, if you should take a look at the bill, you will see, of course, you'll see, of course, an outline. You'll see a table of content, and that's where the deep dive actually begins. It's, I've seen some, social media headings or posts in which, of course, they flesh it out. But I think in order to find out more specifics or the most pertinent in some of the details on this particular bill, to see the scope, the real scope of this bill is in the devil is in the details, I believe would be most appropriate. So we're going to do a little bit of the deets, if you will. We call deets around here. That's short for details. I hope that's not too offensive for you guys. And we're going to look at, looks like the CDC has changed or has evolved with guidelines on the mocktails. We're going to take a look at also a story of a Wisconsin judge who rules in the favor of a transgender. So it's a little bit loaded, but we'll try to get you in and out. And of course, I might open this up at the end. Hello. I have the definition of anarchy. How are you this morning? Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you for all you do to support the channel around here. And Philip J. Turner. And I am going to open this up. I'm going to open this up before the close of this stream. So I will give you your 3 to 5 minutes. So I'm going to try to get through as much of this as possible. Well, it's not going to be, it's not my intent to take a long time, but sometimes it just ends up being a point of wherever the interests are is where I try to put the weight of the time, put most of the weight on that time. So thank you guys so much. And Philip J. Turner is opening us up here. He says, they gave away our money again, only giving us chump change, 600 DLS. I'm thinking big effing joke. I understand the frustration. I understand it. So an Anarchy television says, of course, it has the number 33 in it, or hashtag 33 in it. Well, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, but I'm sure we're going to get close. We'll probably pick up, because what I'm going to do is I don't mind sharing the screen, but I'm going to try to give you some of the outline. I'm going to talk briefly about the outline of this thing. I mean, it's a monster of a bill. I think this is like, this is like a heavy weight of pork, coming in at 2.5 feet tall with a bow on it, with a red bow on it, geez, oh, pizza. Okay. So I've seen the fleshing out with that includes the foreign aid. It's all there. Okay. So, but we'll get into it in just a second. But what I'm seeing is there's divisions, of course, A to Z, but I've seen immigration extensions, commissions on, and what do they get, for their pet project, for their main pet project, they've got what? Behind door number 2 for the Black community, another commission, a commission on Black men and boys corrections. Yeah. Don't ask me. We'll get as much as we can without hurting anyone around here. It's heavy. All right. You have even a U.S. Customs and Border Protection Authority to accept donation extensions. It's a lot. So yeah, we'll get into that. Looks like a little bit more of the military industrial complex. Pretty heavy, right? But where have you heard this before? Let's see, the America Last agenda, right? Is that what we're on? Is that what we're doing? So, or is it the Boomerang Project? What do you want to call it? Okay, so I am going to I'm going to go ahead and start here. So just right off, I have seen appropriations for the Department of Education for one, and it's interesting that the HBCU once again is a part of this. It's not interesting. It's just, to me, it's a more of an extension on what's already been done. But Howard University is is one of the universities named in the Department of Education for $20 million, an extension extended all the way through September of 2022. And guess who graduated from Howard University? Kamala Harris, right? Do you see the distinction here? You've got they just keep it. To me, it doesn't sound like this is not an agenda, a partisan agenda, folks. It's not. It's bipartisan support, and to me, the most influential and the most significant things or significant transactions or legislation is passed via bipartisan legislation. So I'm just going to keep going here. I mean, I have the doc here, so I'll share that screen with you. But it's I'll tell you, this document is almost 6,000 pages long. So I don't mean to be all over the place. I just want to bring out some key points that, of course, you're not going to get it from mainstream news. I think Tulsi Gabbard made a comment about it being a slap in Americans' faces, but is she going to do a deep dive for you? I don't think so. So what you see before you, as a matter of fact, I'm going to put the doc into the stream so that you can read it at your leisure. Because only at your leisure will you want to sit through something like this. Because you need a shovel. You're going to need a shovel going in. So what I'm saying is the HBCU will continue to receive funding in the name of the CV through 2022, and that's September 30th through 2022. And so what you have is the front page here. I'm not going to scroll each of these. What I will do is just let you see the table of content. I've looked at the Department of Education section, and you have the foreign part of this is to me the most weight. I will say, to get some honorable mentions in here, though, I got to tell you, somebody thought of the power grid, and that was, and the Congress knows about the vulnerability and the risk of our power grid. It's 100 years old, for crying out loud. It's a huge security vulnerability. But, I mean, that's about as much kudos as I can give it, right? So let me read a couple of comments here. You guys can I can zoom into that doc a little bit. Okay, so you have your Division A, of course, your agricultural, rural development, food, drug administration, related agencies, appropriations. So you get the breakdown in these first couple of pages. But I picked out a few pages and a few sections which I thought were peculiar, and I thought they're the foreign appropriations, absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. So I'm going to all right. Joseph Francis Burton says page 1 of 593. I love the omnibus bills. There you go. Okay, so we have Philip J. Turner says they should be taken out and shot for that BS. Okay, that's from Philip J. Turner. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so but I'm not going to do 6,000, almost 6,000. To get us through this presentation. No, I'm not. I'm just showing you where you can do your autonomous investigation, if you like. Okay, so it's broken down, of course, into divisions. You've got your titles, divisions. Of course, transportation. The one, okay, so under division O is extensions and technical corrections. So that's the Title 1 immigration extensions, Title 2 Commission on Black Men and Boys Corrections. I have not yet to get into that, which that's probably going to be that's going to be a conversation in itself. I'm pretty much on the globalist agenda, or the industrial complex, section of this war. So the warmongering section of this, it's just a lot. Title 3, U.S. Customs and Border Protection Authority to accept donation extensions. I'm trying to pull out. And then, of course, you got your museums again. We're donating to museums. Who's at the museum right now? Smithsonian American Women's History Museum Act and National Museum of the American Latino. So this is the divisions of this thing. It's a mountain of pork, more pork than anything. So there you can see how this thing starts out. It's legalese, I guess, to say the least. But I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to highlight a couple of sections and try not to. So we have, I'm going to try to get you to 415, but you're dealing with foreign military financing loan guarantees. You also have an Arms Export Control Act for Jordan, in which they are citing it must be repaid in United States dollars. Can you guys tell me where this fits in the what does this have to do with what's going on here? Or the American businesses, or the survival? I don't know. I'm just asking. Just asking. So I'm going to open it up. It's the Lockhart perspective. Thank you so much, the Lockhart perspective. She says crap with a capital CRAP. Thank you. It seriously is. And the Lockhart perspective says stuff to confuse the masses. Oui. Okay, so I'm just scrolling along here. Like I said, honestly, it's really a chore. This is not exactly the most user-friendly way to view this document. So that's why I'm kind of glossing you over. So, but I did put that link in the stream, I do believe. And I'm just going to go through the things that I thought that were a little, these things are of interest, okay? They really are. It's the America Last agenda. You would think, have we already switched hands already? I mean, you've got climate czars flying to Asia already. And, the situation is real. Hello. Let's see. Right. I have that in here. I'm going to brush through this. And if I have time, I'll talk about it a little bit. But I'm probably going to open this up probably sooner than later because, yeah. All right. So we have, you've got these export control acts, Arms Export Control Act for Jordan. It has to be repaid in United States dollars. You even have mention of the Congress for Overseas Contingency Operation, Global War on Terrorism, training related to international. There's $7,500,000 given to international prison conditions, $900 million for the Special Defense Acquisition Fund. Going to Palestine now. I can't make this stuff up, can I? Joseph Francis Burton says, thank you for the link. I could use some bathtub reading. And Arky Television, I noticed that they've given a lot of money to the other countries. Philip J. Turner says, the pure robbery of the American tax dollar, all that money should have went to American people, every penny. I couldn't agree more. So, and here's what, honestly, when I started digging through this thing, if you guys just hang tight here with me, when I started digging through this thing, it's like your eyes just keep growing, and see, I just ran into something right here. Foreign military financing program for necessary expenses for grants to enable the president to carry out the provisions of Section 23 of the Arms Export Control Act. That's $6,175,524,000, of which $576,909,000 to remain available until September 30th, 2022 is designated by the Congress for Overseas Contingency Operation Global War on Terrorism. Pursuant to the section, you can read the rest, the Balanced Budget and Emergency Deficit Control Act of 1985. All right, and then we jump down here. I'm just looking at it with you guys right now. As you can see, if you get down a little bit more, you find that funds of the appropriated under this heading, not less than $3,300,000,000 shall be available for grants only for Israel, which shall be dispersed within 30 days of the enactment of this act. Provided further that to the extent of that government of Israel requests that funds be used for such purposes, grants made available for Israel under this heading shall, as agreed by the United States and Israel, be available for advanced weapon systems, of which not less than $795,300,000 shall be available for the procurement in Israel of defense articles and defense services, including research and development. Chew on that. It's a lot. Chew on. I'm just saying, it's just throughout the whole thing. It's thick. Okay. So, and then I find I'm gonna jump down a bit. Just want to give you a taste of where the money's going. Okay. All right. So we're gonna get to, it's about 1443, page 1443. So, limitation on assistance for the Palestinian Authority. Section 7040A, prohibition of funds. None of the funds appropriated by this act to carry out the provisions of Chapter 4 of Part 2 of the Foreign Assistance Act of 1961 may be obligated or expended with respect to providing funds to the Palestinian Authority. So this is not the one that I'm into. I'm just saying you have, there's details there. The deets are here on what the intent. Now that's, you notice I said intent. Okay. And Egypt is Middle East and North Africa. Certification and report funds appropriated by this act that are available for assistance for Egypt may be made available, notwithstanding any other provision of law restricting assistance for Egypt, except for the subsection of the Section 620 M of Foreign Assistance Act of 1961. It may only be made available for assistance for the government of Egypt if the Secretary of State and reports to the Committee on Appropriations that such government is. And so you keep going here. You've got all these things that were, it looks like some of these things were, I don't know. It looks like is this the retroactivation maybe of some existing things here. But I'm going to keep going here because you have some educational funds, economic support fund of funds appropriated by this act under the heading economic support fund. Not less than $125 million shall be made available for assistance for Egypt. Now, of which $40 million should be made available for higher education programs, including not less than $15 million for scholarships for Egyptian students with high financial need to attend non-for-profit institutions for education in Egypt that are currently accredited by a regional accrediting agency recognized by the United States Department of Education. You picking up what I'm putting down? So, okay, so we have Touchdown Sean here. How are you doing? Thanks so much for coming in. He said, I just saw it in the news. Now mothers will get $600 per child, and we know who will definitely benefit from that. Touche. And Joseph Francis Burton says, here's my stimulus plan. Stop shuttering businesses. Touchdown Sean says it's unfair. They are really accounting millions of dollars to the HBCUs. Yeah, there's a plan there. I think there's a plan there. And I think there's been a plan there from the very beginning. And Joseph Francis Burton says, I love CNN's coverage of this. Ignore the 500,000 plus pages and tell us when we can expect our breadcrumbs. And Alien Believer says theft of all use. Alien Believer says 2020 the year they robbed the American people. Sad but true. Anarchy Television says they've been robbing us for decades. They're just now insuring the robbers for the next 100 to 200 years. Very observant. Anarchy Television. I just want to say this on the record here. I absolutely enjoyed your presentation, and I think everyone would do well to get over to Anarchy Television's page and see what's going on. He is more than a truth teller, and he just did a fantastic presentation yesterday on the hierarchy of what's going on, the powers that be, and just where where do you rank in the scheme of things? You totally put that. I hanging on to that one. So thank you so much for sharing that. Anarchy Television. Philip J. Turner says we're in a crisis, and the some bees give away our money to third world backdoor accounts to enrich themselves. Okay, so it says Alien Believer says it's the plan to destroy your own country and ours. All right, and Touchdown Sean says I saw checks will start as early as next week, sending out $600 crumbs. Eat up. Thank you for that, Touchdown Sean. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming in and supporting. And you guys, thank you so much for feeding the AI. And we'll just take a moment to give another word of thanks to our friends and our sponsors. We'll be right back. Thanks so much for tuning in. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, entertainment, history, and much, much more, there's something for everyone. So please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Joseph Francis Burton, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back to the news right after this. All right, guys, thanks so much for all that you do. And yeah, so I'm it's staggering, what's happening, and I'm not sure where it's going to wind up. Not sure if it's going to be vetoed. What are the chances? I don't exactly know. But I did say at the opening of this, so this is we're back to the American last agenda, without a doubt. And just a few crumbs for you. Yeah, just a few. And like I said, the only thing I really can say, and to me, most of the issues with whether it's infrastructure or whether it's security or energy, whatever it is, these are known issues, that like the power grid that I mentioned. And of course, who would be familiar with our vulnerabilities? Of course, if somebody were to fry our power grid, there would be a security risk, or an EMP weapon would be devastating for those conditions. I mean, your 1960s or 70s radio will work. I'm told by my friends that my 1960s or 70s radio will work. Watch it. We'll see if the demand for those go up in these times. I mean, I don't know, or solar power radio, whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. But I appreciate you guys for all that you do. And yes, Philip J. Turner says we already in debt, and don't add on more. Veto that bill. We'll see. For one, no matter how you feel about Trump, has anybody actually heard from him lately? Just saying, just saying. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I did put that link in the stream. So, if you're going, if you want to lift paper and gosh, you wouldn't dare print something like this out. If you want to lift, strengthen your paper, and I don't know, maybe you're going camping or something. Maybe you want to keep yourself warm next to this pile of, maybe you want to, keep the fires burning with this thing. I don't know, but it's there, and I'll put it out one more time, and then we're going to move on because, like I said, you could spend a lifetime on that, and you still wouldn't be done, and then you still wouldn't understand. As I said, it doesn't sound, some of these bills or some of these appropriations, it seems like the appropriations may have even already existed at some point, and maybe there's a retroactivity just based on the history of our history, in war. And I do believe that Syria is on the list of this, of a potential Biden, administration, because as you can see, that was one of the pages that I wanted to share. So I'll get you to that one, and then we'll go on to what the CDC says for your mocktail edification for today. Hope you guys are doing well out there. And then I will put the link out to see if anybody wants to chime in just a bit. Thank you guys so much again for all that you do. There's one that I found that was really peculiar. It's dealing with the release of, I think it's actually along the part of the Egyptian provisions. So I'll run you back to that. There's a $75 million appropriation with releasing political prisoners and providing detainees with due process of law. So, yeah, that's Egypt. So we've been to quite a few places already, and we're going to probably round this out with just letting you have a gander here in what they're speaking to from the United States consulate and more on the Middle East. So in this section, we're on 1450, United States Consulate General. Any change in the status of operations in the United States Consulate General, Basra, including the return of consulate property located adjacent to the Basra International Airport to the government of Iraq, shall be subject to prior consultation with the appropriate congressional committees and the regular notification procedures of the committees on appropriations. Okay, so basing rights agreements. None of the funds appropriated or otherwise made available by this act may be used by the government of the United States to enter into a permanent basing rights agreement between the United States and Iraq. Jordan, of the funds appropriated by this act under Titles 3 and 4, not less than $1,650,000,000 shall be made available for assistance for Jordan, of which not less than $845,100,000 shall be made available for budget support for the government of Jordan. Not less than $10 million shall be made available for programs and activities for which policy justifications and decisions shall be the responsibility of the United States Chief of Mission in Jordan. And then, of course, it just goes on to, it gives you the specific breakdown on those appropriations. So there you go. You've got your link there. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's see. All right, guys. Thank you so much once again. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring us out of that, and I'm going to bring us into our update. We have an update from the CDC. So I'm going to read a couple of comments, and then I'm going to take you to those CDC guidelines for those of us who may be affected by allergies, perhaps, or, check your own profile on that. So alien believers say, yeah, something about to happen. It's past the 21st, and our consciousness is changing. I was told by Archangel Michael. Thank you, alien believers. Touchdown Sean says Trump is in Syria, I guess. He is MIA. Interesting. Okay, and Anarchy Television says, otherwise put your solid state electronics inside of a Faraday cage. It will survive an EMP. Ooh. Thank you for that. Yeah, you should, we should talk about that. Anarchy Television. Thank you. Philip J. Turner says, shortest day of the year. And believers, anyone feel differently? Would a microwave work? Okay. So from Steve Willis, how are you? He says, does anyone remember the good old days with the national debt was only $7 trillion? All this stimulus, quote, stimulus, end quote, money is borrowed from the Fed and added to the debt. We're no longer on the brink. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. So what we're going to do, right now is I'm going to take you over to our next story. And it's going to come from the CDC. So this will be your edification on mocktails. The mocktail, yeah. So you'll have to consider this, a little perspective here. So we're going to take it from this one. According to this, the CDC issues guidelines on the CV-19 mocktail after allergic reactions. Okay. All right. So according to Reuters, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, on Saturday said it was monitoring reports of allergic reactions to the COVID, and I said it, the mocktails. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so let me get back to that. All right, so monitoring reports of allergic reactions to the CV-19 mocktail and make recommendations on how people with histories of allergy should proceed. Anyone who had a severe reaction to the CV mocktail should not get the second dose, the agency said, defining severe as needing the medication, epinephrine, or treatment in a hospital. So let's see. I could humor you guys with that, but maybe we'll come back to that. But people who have had an allergic reaction to any ingredient in the CV-19 mocktail should avoid the mocktail formulation containing the ingredient. CDC said that the 2 mocktails have been approved in the United States under emergency use authorizations. Individuals with histories of severe allergic reactions to mocktails should consult their doctors about the CV-19 jab. The CDC said people with severe allergies to food, pets, latex, or environmental conditions, as well as people with allergies to oral medications or family history of severe allergic reactions, could still get the mocktail. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is investigating around 5 allergic reactions that happened after people were administered the Pfizer Inc. and BioNTech SEs, a CV-19 mocktail in the United States this week. On Friday, the FDA said that the Moderna Inc. mocktail, which received emergency use authorization, should not be given to individuals with known history of severe allergic reaction to any components of the jab. Britain's medical regulator has said that anyone with a history of anaphylaxis or severe allergic reactions to a medicine or food should not be given the Pfizer BioNTech mocktail. So let's see what the imagery has here. So I will play this one for you in just a second. Thank you guys once again so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. If you haven't hit that, if you haven't fed the AI, you will have an opportunity to do that just any time throughout this stream.
Today, British regulators put out a warning announcing people who have a serious history of...
He's finally asleep.
Yikes. Hold
Sometimes
on.
you need to take a moment for yourself. Instacart is here to help make your day a little easier.
So just hang on 1 second here. We're going to get through the ad and then we'll just keep playing this. Let's see. Almost. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
allergic reactions should not get Pfizer's new vaccine for now. That has many people here in the U.S. asking questions since the FDA will likely approve the Pfizer vaccine tomorrow. Fox 5 Sierra Fox is live at Inova Fairfax to explain the potential side effects. Sierra?
Good evening, Angie. We are headed towards the light at the end of the tunnel. We aren't there yet, but Inova Fairfax Hospital here has already done dry run tests of vaccine distribution. We know the UK has approved the Pfizer vaccine.
Commercials.
Happy anniversary.
Sorry, guys.
Every year you're with us, you get $50 toward your home deductible. It's a policy perk for being a Farmer's customer.
Yikes.
Really? Do I have to do anything?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I apologize for the commercials, but this is, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but so at least they're, I don't know, at least they're kind of keeping you up to date on what's going on. I mean, but who's actually going on to the CDC site at this point? I'm not sure. Some people are.
But 2 of their healthcare workers had an allergic reaction. Right now, it's not clear the exact component of the vaccine that triggered them in that way. Earlier, I spoke with an infectious disease expert at Johns Hopkins about the symptoms someone could experience.
The British regulators did state that these patients had anaphylaxis, which is a severe allergic reaction that's characterized by swelling, shortness of breath, sometimes throat tightening, and a rash. The other reactions that people have from this vaccine are the common ones that we would expect: muscle aches and pains, some soreness at the injection site, fevers and chills, a headache.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. That was a little bit painful on the commercials. I do apologize for that, but that was the first time actually also using that source. So thank you guys so much. So there you go. You're getting some information on the beyond the clinicals, I guess, at this point. But I will say that there's also they don't identify specific ingredients. There are ingredients that have been that these mocktails contain that have never been used or been approved for a mocktail. So there was one specific that I wanted to look into to talk about on that, but we'll save that for another time. Yes, we will save that one for another time. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give it to you anyway, and I'll give you the source here. So according to this research, and I'm going to put that in there for you just a second. It's a severe allergy-like reactions in at least 8 people who received the CV mocktail produced by Pfizer and BioNTech over the past 2 weeks may be due to a compound in the packaging of the messenger mRNA that forms the mocktail's main ingredient, scientists say. A similar mRNA mocktail developed by Moderna, which was authorized for emergency use in the U.S. on Friday, also contains the compound polyethylene glycol. That's a PEG. Now, the PEG has never been used before in an approved mocktail, but it is found in many drugs that have occasionally triggered anaphylaxis and a potentially life-threatening reaction that can cause rashes, a plummeting blood pressure, shortness of breath, and fast heartbeat. Some allergists and immunologists believe a small number of people previously exposed to PEG may have high levels of antibodies against PEG, putting them at risk for the anaphylactic reaction to the mocktail. So I'm going to give you that. I'll give you the source on that. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Hello, Brittany. How are you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, paralysis by analysis, the mocktail's main ingredient. Love. Only paralysis by analysis would extract the main ingredient. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I will pull that out for you. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment. And what I'm going to do also, I'm going to put that link in the stream for you, but we're going to have a story from our vetted source, the TNA, the New American, and then we'll go into some of the, I don't know, this is almost like we're going into a civil rights territory, if you will. At least that's what they'll call it. I'm sure the legalese will be something like that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And once again, if you haven't had a chance to feed the AI, you can do it at any time. Or share, throw caution to the wind by sharing us out. And that helps also. So what we're going to do is we will go to our story from our friends at the JBS right after this. This segment of our show is brought to you by our good friends at the John Birch Society. Less government, more responsibility, and with God's help, a better world. The JBS is a constitutional and educational organization that's been around for over 60 years, dedicated to upholding and defending the Constitution and working to preserve our freedoms and liberties in this country. The JBS does not endorse any political party or candidates. Rather, it focuses on the education, training, and development of the American voters. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn on your Tuesday. Okay, so with that said, we're going to go over to our liner, which we're going to change gears just a little bit. I'm not saying it's, I can't tell you how you're going to feel about the gear, but we're going to change gears here just a little bit. And that is taking us to our story from the JBS today, the TNA. The New American, the judge rules Wisconsin transgender prisoner who raped his own daughter should undergo taxpayer-funded sex reassignment surgery. I'll probably put that in the stream for your leisure as well. How's that? I'll do that for you right now. Okay, hope you guys are doing well out there. Okay, all right, so back to our story. A federal judge has ruled a Wisconsin man who was in prison for raping his own daughter is entitled to receive a sex change operation at the taxpayer's expense. U.S. District Judge James Peterson ruled Mark Allen Campbell is entitled to a sex change surgery and should be moved to a women's prison while he awaits his transition. Campbell was sentenced to 34 years in jail in 2007 after he pled guilty to first-degree sexual assault against his daughter. He now identifies as a transgender woman under the name Nicole Rose Campbell. Campbell began requesting sex reassignment surgery in 2013, the Daily Wire reports, and has been receiving female hormones and transgender counseling paid for by Wisconsin taxpayers. While at Racine Correctional Institute, a men's prison, to accommodate Campbell's gender dysphoria, Racine has allowed Campbell to dress in women's clothing and wear makeup. It wasn't enough for Campbell. By 2016, Campbell filed a lawsuit claiming his Eighth Amendment rights were violated because Department of Corrections, the DOC, officials were, quote, indifferent, end quote, to his, quote, medical needs, end quote, which he claimed amounted to cruel and unusual punishment. Last year, the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the DOC officials were immune to damages in the lawsuit because they could not be expected to know that denying Campbell a sex change was a violation of his rights. Quote, the Eighth Amendment requires prison healthcare professionals to exercise medical judgment when making decisions about an inmate's treatment, and they cannot completely deny the care of a serious medical condition, end quote, the Judge Diane Sykes wrote in the decision. Quote, but cases recognizing those broad principles could not have warned these defendants that treating an inmate's gender dysphoria with hormone therapy and deferring consideration of sex reassignment surgery violates the Constitution, end quote. But Judge Peterson handed Campbell an enormous victory this month when he ordered the state to provide Campbell the gender reaffirming surgery. Quote, the rights of transgender persons and sex reassignment surgery remain politically controversial, even outside the prison context, end quote, wrote Peterson. And some members of the public are outraged at any effort to improve the health and well-being of inmates. But the true public interest lies in alleviating needless suffering by those who are dependent on the government for their care, end quote. The DOC requested that Peterson first be required to live for a year at a Techita Correctional Institution, a women's prison, before the judge orders the surgery. The post-millennial notes the, quote, national standard of care, end quote, for candidates for sex assignment surgery is to live for a year as the opposite sex with, quote, real life, end quote, experience. But Peterson denied that request. Quote, I decline to impose any further prerequisites on Campbell's sex reassignment surgery. She has waited long enough, end quote, Peterson further wrote. Peterson added, however, that it could take up to a year for Campbell to schedule the surgery. There's only one surgeon in Wisconsin qualified to perform the procedure, and suggested transferring him to a women's prison in the meantime, despite his criminal history of rape. Judge Peterson argued, quote, to be clear, an inmate's criminal history is irrelevant to whether she has a right to necessary medical treatment, end quote. Peterson added that while not all transgender people need surgery as part of their treatment for gender dysphoria, quote, Campbell continues to suffer from gender dysphoria, which causes her anguish, puts her at risk of self-harm or suicide, end quote. Of course, data shows that sex reassignment surgery often contributes to increased rates of self-harm amongst the transgender community. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services observed in 2018 that there were an increased, quote, incidence of mortality and psychiatric hospitalization, end quote, in large part due to suicides amongst individuals who underwent sex reassignment. An October 2019 paper published in the American Journal of Psychiatry entitled, quote, Reduction in Mental Health Treatment Utilization Among Transgender Individuals After Gender Affirming Surgeries, a Total Population Study, end quote, which includes the largest data set on sex reassignment procedures, both hormonal and surgical, found that those procedures do not offer mental health benefits. In August 2016, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid wrote that, quote, the 4 best designed and conducted studies that assessed quality of life before and after surgery using validated, albeit non-specific, psychometric studies did not demonstrate clinically significant changes or differences in the psychometric test results after the GRS, that's the gender reassignment surgery, end quote. Treatment for gender dysphoria should not include indulging the delusions of gender misidentity. Instead, it should include mental health treatment that helps individuals to, quote, align their thoughts and feelings with reality, including the reality of the body, end quote, writes Ryan T. Anderson, PhD, Senior Research Fellow in American Principles and Public Policies. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reports Campbell will be the first in Wisconsin to have the surgery while in state custody. And once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And who do I have? I have some great comments coming in here. All right, I'll probably read a few of these comments, and I may open this up just for a little bit. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and taking care with the Channelytics today. I really appreciate it. All right, we have Alien Believer says, sorry, people, the people on ABC's medias are nothing but liars and unpatriotic criminals that the most of them don't even know they are working for their own doom, and sad. Yes, that's sad. It is fair sad. Sad for them. Sad for them. Joseph Francis Burton. Okay, he's responding there. Okay, Philip J. Turner's comment here says, tired of Molly coddling criminals, also take him out. Problem solved. He had 40 years. Exchange before the fact. So, no. And Anarchy Television says, what the beep? I don't have a beeper. Alien Believers. That's all propaganda by the enemy of all of them now on your TV. Hang on a second. Okay, had a little something bizarre to come through there, so sorry about that. So paralysis by analysis, going to be hard for him to sexually assault anyone anymore without his Tony. So maybe we should hear him out. Yikes. All right, so what is it? Turn off the TV. Yeah, turn it off. Alien Believers. Hashtag turn off the lie TV. And Philip G. Turner says the pacification of criminals. Just say no. Oh my God. Anarchy Television. Giving us the truth. Alien Believers. Simply fix turning off all TV for a week and then see what happens. Ay. So yeah, there you have. That's pretty much the stories for today. And I will open this up. Let's see. I'm going to open this up for about 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and see if I have any takers today. If you would like to comment on any of these subjects, the link will be provided for you here. I'll see if I have any takers. And I want to thank you guys, as always, for coming into Black Spring with Autumn on your Tuesday, spending some of your time here, because you guys have choices, I know, and I appreciate it. And I think this week is going to be, I don't know, I know it's a holiday week, but I certainly can't say it's going to be uneventful. Yeah, it seems like the news cycle it's so fast these days, and you're not short on news. Let the truth be told says later all have a wonderful day. Got a sermon to do. All right. Thank you so much for coming in. Let the truth be told. And thank you for feeding the AI today. I really appreciate it. And this was a bit of a flash. The other thing I want to address is that I will be changing this. I will be making the schedule more consistent. I know I've been a little bit all over the place, but I will be making adjustments to the schedule so you'll know when I'm going live. Some of the lives are flash in the schedule. There's some things are not linear about the schedule, but then the regular streams, I will put those back on specific days. I try to get that out to you guys between the next 24 hours, try to get it out to you. Because I used to be on Mondays and Wednesdays. I used to be. And I think that's possible again. So we'll see. I mean, and then of course there's other days that I can do, but it seems like you guys come in, you guys pile on a little bit on Sundays. And I think Sunday is kind of a nice day to have a stream. I've never done a stream consistently on Sundays or Saturdays, but you kind of get to do the weekend, a roundup of the weekend, and yeah, you get to see where the interest of the week is by the time you get to the weekend. So we'll see what happens there. Joseph Francis Burton. That's a $60,000 question. Here, I'm going to put this up here. That's a tough call, Joseph Francis Burton. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure whether he will sign the omnibus stimulus bill. He said, what do you think will happen if he refused? I'm not sure, but see, that's what I'm speaking to right now. I just think there's, we've talked about this before, Lockhart perspective, if you're still around, we've talked about this kind of eeriness in the air. Like, I'm just wondering if something's not going to, what the deadline is. The bill has the support from the Congress, but I just don't know has anybody heard from him? I think was a question that I posed at the beginning of this stream. I don't think we've heard enough from him already. You are the current president, no matter how many elects and titles are created anywhere else. But I can't really, I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't think he's a reader myself, because the USMCA, and nobody actually read that bill. And that bill had all kinds of provisions in it. I mean, the USMCA, I know this is a digression, but I'm talking about people not reading bills. That bill was about 2,000 pages. And in that bill, I don't think people understand that bill had a bit of what I consider a transfer of power in it, because if the people making the decisions about trade and farming and the agricultural economy, those people were not elected by we the people, and we don't have a committee it's not being done by a committee in our government, our Congress. It's actually going to be done by some foreign committee. It's going to be an appointed committee that will even make the decisions on the USMCA. That bill also had a ton of protections, of social protections in it, including the LGBT community. I think you couldn't limit the amount of immigrants, whether legal or not. That could not be limited based on the USMCA. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he did sign it, because he doesn't read. I don't know who works with him. I don't know who briefs him on these things. If you don't want to read it, get somebody to read it to you, or put it on your podcast, or put the bill on your podcast. But for crying out loud, they, nobody read the USMCA. So I think it's 50-50, I think, as far as I can, that's as far as I can go on whether he'll sign it or not. I don't know where he is on, the status of where things are overall right now. So I'm, nothing surprises me, but I think people just they don't want to read this stuff. But I mean, he's in a position where you can't afford not to read something like that. I just think that's a dereliction of duty, whether your duties are more administrative or not. So yeah, I can't really say. I'm 50-50. So yeah, but that's a good question. I I thought about it myself. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to do anything? Is anybody going to hear from you? Or what are you doing right now? So yeah, this is it's I don't know. I mean, why my issue is why Congress hasn't missed one paycheck during this whole bit. Not one. Yet all of the not all the governors, you've had governors that are visiting family. Even I heard Dr. Birx was out visiting family. Pelosi, yes, right on paralysis by analysis. Yeah, that was what was the Obamacare, the health act. You got to pass it in order to find out what's in it. That is, she lives by, I guess that's she plays by her own rules too. So who knows? I just think all bets are off. I think it's 50-50. I just don't know. I mean, we're coming up very close to the end of this year, and we're not hearing, I don't think we've heard enough from anyone other than we hear about these Senate races. And I don't know if this is an indication that he's focused his energy somewhere else. That I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if they're just trying to get to was it Jan 5th that they're trying to get through? I don't know, but we did do that. We did play that Warnock versus Loeffler. We did do that debate. We showed that debate on here, which that was an awkward debate, and it was really not little or no substance there. But we'll see. We're also seeing a shift in media. I've said it's a shilly market. We've seen the like what's it like Blaze or the Fox News, of course, was added to the list earlier. People are I think people are starting to settle into a President Biden or a Biden elect. Some people are, and some people are absolutely not. I don't know. I'm at a loss. Let's see. Yeah, Alien Believer says they're all criminals. Every one of them are all stealing the people's money. Period. Please, we all know you're not awake. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I mean, Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell. When you just look at the history of these bills, you start to see where people in Congress are benefiting from these bills. I think the Kushner, what is the Hebrew Academy? I mean, is anybody going to rock the boat? I mean, at this point, they're all kind of, they've all kind of, they're back to their. It's like I think they're back to Groundhog's Day. They're doing what they're back to their regular setup, where everybody's got their hand in the pot. So I just don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. It's going to be interesting to see, but am I holding my breath for any of it? No. Do I think the people have a chance? Do we, the people, have a chance with all of this going on? Can't say that I don't see that. I don't mean to be Debbie Downer or negative Nancy, but I just don't see it. I've written my own I've written to senators and done these kinds of things, and I don't see where that's. I wrote to Dianne Feinstein. That was my last correspondence, and of course I get a nice little statement from whoever her secretary is. And I didn't even bother to go over the letter from Bill Barr, which also check out the Lockhart perspective. She did a report on Bill Barr, on him ending the year, how he's planning on ending his year and his career of serving the Trump administration. So yes, please check out the Lockhart perspective on that, because I'd like to look into that a little bit deeper. But I tell you, I think all these people are really compromised, and we just and that also just kind of takes me back into Anarchy Television. Anarchy Television did he's a fantastic storyteller and truth teller, and you know, you really, I think he did a great job with his story on where we are, like, not just, I think he gave us the overarching hierarchy, not just domestically, but globally, what we're being set up for, right? What we've been set up for. And I think even paralysis by analysis knocked it out of the park, you know, the cause of freedom and how the masking of it all. And I just think we've had some great chats, and yeah, we certainly have. So I thank you guys so much for being such stimulating chat room, and I don't want to say chatters, but I will be putting some things on the community tab. And also, I don't know, I guess maybe even trying to get back on the Twitter. I mean, Periscopers, that's pertinent to you. Yeah, March 31st, they're shutting down Periscope broadcast. So you won't be able to get Black Spring via the Periscope following anymore. So yeah, so you might want to come on over, subscribe. And even, I will tell you, I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit concerned about going into next year. Like, how much longer is YouTube going to hold out for platforms like mine and, of course, others? I don't necessarily like paint myself into a category so much, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, there's some level of shadow banning. I don't even think they're using my platform to do any type of commercials. I couldn't give away a commercial. I can't even give away any ads for them. And it's not, my channel's not monetized. So but I can't rely on, you know, on their, I can't even say the AI, the grace of the AI going into 2021. So I am on Patreon. And so I'm thinking there's going to be there's actually going to be a newsletter. And then from the newsletter, I'll be transitioning with an actual website also. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, I don't want to wait until there's, you know, lights out around here, and you guys don't know what direction that I'm going in. Thanks so much, JT Waterman. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate you so much. Let me see. I'm going to read some of these, and then I'm going to get you guys on your way on your Tuesday. I know you have plenty of things to do. Let's see. But my only credit that I gave was, you know, to the fact that they mentioned, but to me, for all the things that they want to put in a holding pattern, whether it's the power grid, you know, they talked about, you know, modernizing the power grid, and but they've known for years. That thing is 100 years old, and it's you know, it could be, if it were ever attacked, we'd be toast. And getting it up and running, or even starting repair on it, would take several months to do. So I don't know. I mean, but even there are some executive orders, I think, even on that. So I don't understand the redundancy on some of these bills. If Trump's done an executive order, and then you guys are doing these pork barrel bills, why aren't you doing anything? It's such a crock. Paralysis says the Biden gas will be delightful until he's deemed incompetent and Harris takes over. Anarchy Television says The government has declared all of us people the enemy when they passed Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917. And JT Waterman said he flipped on Trump, but spending Christmas with his family. Ay, ay, ay. Let's see. Philip J. Turner says, unless we're removing Dems forcibly from office. All right, guys. I'm going to thank you all. Let's see, JT Waterman. There are many places. Yeah, it's exhausting. It's like forcing me into it's like they're forcing me out of mainstream. it's media mainstream. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. And it's like, and then one day and then I get concerned that one day what happens when those wells dry up? So just like, where do we go? It's like, ay, ay, ay. Thank you for sharing those with me. And Philip J. Turner says, you report news, others push conspiracies. Well, I try. I try to vet things. I try to use my vetted sources as much as I can. And, but even with vetted sources, you still get some level of framing, or you get some level of figurative, positioning. You do. You frame it up. I mean, otherwise it's just a one-liner, right? You got to add some fluff. Yeah, but I thank you for that. Appreciate it. And I'll continue to do that. Thank you, Anarchy Television. I really appreciate it. Oh, JT Waterman says they admitted when Trump went into office that the power grid was in danger. But the thing about it is, JT, they've had commissions. They already had commissions. Like, what are you guys doing with these commissions? But you're sending money to you're funding education in Egypt with this pork and barrel bill, the Groundhog's Day bill, the America Last agenda. It's just like, can they wait? I mean, can they not wait? They cannot wait to see if Trump is actually going to be completely removed, going to be out of office. They've already started showing who they are. And yeah, it's exhausting. We're back to, when I hear Biden say things, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, when I hear Biden say, oh, we're back in the climate, we're back in the Paris Accord. Well, but Nancy's been talking to them since last year, the climate summit. And, Trump won an award for, continuing to, to make us energy independent when it came to oil. So, they have never been out of they've been in contact with people, with foreign leaders, all the time. So to say that you're back, you're maybe you, and on some level you think you are, for visuals, you're back, you're the representative, but you never left. When did you leave? Your agenda is the same. It never changes. Let's see. Ramble pays you the first video. Oh, really? Oh, pays you the first video you upload. Okay, suspending them on other things that we aren't told of. Yeah, I put that link in there for you guys. So I don't know how soon this thing will come out, because I did see a projection that they would be getting those. I think they will be getting those out as early as next week. I don't know. Honestly, it's a bit much. See, the stimulus bill is solid pork. I'm currently reading the Gandhi King Scholarly Exchange Initiative Act in the okay. See, I left some pork for you. I didn't eat it. I didn't spend it all in this stream. I left some pork for you to mow on, Joseph Francis. Hey, there's plenty of pork to go around. We have 11 people watching or listening from wherever you are. There's plenty of pork to go around. Don't waste your pork here. Don't waste all the pork here in Black Spring. Let's see. What else do we have? Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna get it together. So yeah, some alternatives. I mean, I'm on BitChute as well. BitChute, and there's also products on BitChute. Like if you guys are preppers at all, there are there's food storage if you're not doing your own food storage supplies, food storage prep, then there are, food supply, and there's other products on BitChute. No, not BitChute. My gosh, it's not BitChute. What am I saying? I'm actually saying, hang on, two shakes here. I'll get you right to where I think I'm trying to go. It's Brighteon. Brighteon. I'm actually on Brighteon. Brighteon has shopping. There's organic things. I remember when you could buy masks from there. There's supplements there. There's personal care, food, beverages, freeze-dried fruits, freeze-dried veggies, herbs, spices, legumes, beans, nuts, seeds, protein powder. They have a ton of things on there. Preparedness, gardening, essential oils, nuclear and biological. I'm not sure what. So yeah, they've added quite a few things. It looks like they've gotten some more things in stock. So if you're looking for silver gel or natural first aid kind of items, you can get that on the BrighteonStore.com via Brighteon. But I am on Brighteon, by the way. Same thing, same Black Spring with Autumn is that. So Joseph Francis Burton says, thanks for the pork. Yes, anything to sustain you around here. It's plenty of pork. And yeah, I don't know. Don't spend your $600 if it comes to pass. Don't spend your $600 all in one place. Okay. I mean, take it to that credit card, a 1-2 punch to that credit card and call it a day. Let's see. All right, guys. I appreciate that so much. Anarchy Television, he says, I can see you worried, but I can also see you very strong. Rise above the fear. I appreciate it. I don't know. I just think, like I said, preparation is, I know it's always served me well. Or even, it's helpful. You guys are helpful on here. You guys, I think I have the courage of my convictions. And I find that in the chat a lot of times. You guys are solid where you are, and you're not afraid to live by, to be living examples, or to push back where you see, dare I say fraud, or where you see things that are just not. You guys have the gift of discernment around here. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that. I guess it truly is a gift. I don't know. I don't think certain things can't be taught, but growth I think is for everyone. So, all right, let me see what I have here. We'll do a final shout out, and then I'll do a thanks for our sponsors, and then we're going to get out of here. It says, thanks so much, Paralysis by Analysis. I really appreciate it. It seems like, you such a great time on here on Sunday. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Here we go from sound advice for us all. Stay above the fear. Yes, I think we're going to get controlled if the fear gets you, if the fear takes you down, then that's where you'll be. So what I'm going to do is, and also you guys are free to email me. It's just blackspring@autumn@gmail.com. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that for you. If you guys ever want to send me anything, not saying that you would, but just in case you want to. So there you go with that. I'm going to thank everybody for coming in, and then we're going to give a final thanks to our sponsors, and I'm going to wish you a so long on your Tuesday. All right, we'll start with Alien Believers. Thank you so much for coming around. JT, how are you doing? Thanks so much for coming in. Government Empathy's velvet glove clothing the iron fist. And that clothed hand has its finger pointing directly at those that clothed it. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, JT, for coming in. And okay, JT Waterman, thank you so much for coming in. He says prepping for it can be a time when it only affects just you, a natural disaster or a heck breaking out all over. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Philip J. Turner, thank you so much. Paralysis by analysis. Have a great day. Thanks so much for coming in and keeping us going. Let's see. Alien Believers, thank you. Joseph Francis Burton, thank you so much for coming in and all the support and everything that you do around here. And yes, I will be issuing a few stripes around here. I'm going to get the code down here. I'm going to get the code and issue it to everyone who's hanging around. You'll learn the code around here. Anarchy Television, JT Waterman, thank you. Well, I think I'm missing some. Lockhart Perspective, wherever you are, thank you so much for coming in, for all your support and everything you do for the channel. Yeah, guys, get over to as I said, for a follow up on the bar status. Jump over to the Lockhart Perspective. She's got a lot of great videos coming out. Already, some that are already there that was just hot off the press. So get over there, and also jump over to Anarchy Television. And thanks so much. Did I see the definition of anarchy? Check out the definition of anarchy. He has a great book out as well. Check him out. Let the Truth Be Told. Thank you so much for coming in and all the things you do to support us around here. And I think I'm winding it down. Brittany Duh, thank you so much for coming in. And I appreciate you guys for feeding the Channelytics today. Touchdown Sean, you're a gem around here. I appreciate it, your insight and all of your support around here. Thank you so much, Touchdown Sean. And Steve Willis, thank you so much. Oh, wow, I didn't see this. That's really sad. Steve Willis, he says it's full on downhill. Yikes. Thanks so much, Steve Willis, for coming in. I probably read that, but for whatever reason, it seems new to me at this time. I'm doing a bad thing, and I guess a little bit irresponsible thing by not wearing my glasses right now. Let's see. I think that's just about it, guys. I thank you guys so much once again for coming in. And for those of you who may get a chance or would like to watch this in replay, it's a little bit delayed on here. But if you go on to Periscope, you can get it right away. It's just Black Spring Autumn on Periscope right now. It is. And then also I was talking about the other platforms. I'll be adding other platforms and updating that on the community tab as well as the schedule. And there will be a podcast available coming out soon as well for these streams. And Patreon will have a podcast link as well. So thank you guys so much for all that you do. And JT, you're never late around here. I thank you so much for coming in. And you guys have a happy, if I don't see you guys, I may be around tomorrow. There's a chance I may be around tomorrow. And I'll put the schedule up. I'll try to update the schedule before the end of the day, but possibly tomorrow we'll stream as well. But if I don't see you guys again, have a great holiday. Merry Christmas to you. Yeah, whether you're celebrating or not, wherever you fall on that, I appreciate it. And you guys have a great day. Look forward to seeing you next live stream in the comments section, in a video, or a moonlight stream. Have a great day, guys.